Today I'm going to be pouring out shades of purple to form lavender blossoms. I think lavender is very beautiful, and also because I'm starting a lavender purple series, which will also include some jacaranda trees, because they are very, very beautiful purple trees for which South Africa, Pretoria, Johannesburg are famous, and they're so pretty. So since YouTube likes videos done in series, I thought, well, I have actually been doing a series. I've done a whole series of cherry blossom in all different iterations, in acrylic pouring, acrylic painting, oil painting, but I didn't think to name it a series. So now I'm naming it a series. It is definitely my purple violet series. So what I'm doing here is I'm putting this pale green on the lower half of the canvas. And this is a large canvas, it's 30 by 60, and you probably won't see much of this background colour at all in the end, but it does have to be a background colour, obviously. I wanted blue, but I thought, no, let me just start with the purple, with the white, because I'm not sure if I want too much of the blue mixing with the violet. Although, of course, when you look at violet, there is lots of blue in it. But I didn't want to specifically make blue now. I've run out of blue, whereas I had the white. So I thought, well, let me just use the white. Sometimes there are other concentrations. And the lower half I'm doing, the lower third, I'm doing green, because that's where the leaves are going to be good. Because the violet, if you look at violet blossoms, they're mostly very small flowers, and they're mostly at the top of the big bush of green foliage. So there does have to be quite a bit of foliage, but I do want the blossoms to be the focal point. I've sprayed the paint out with a spatula. I'm not going to blow it out. It will even out on its own. I can see there's some places here where there is no paint, so I'll just quickly spread that. But it will even out on its own. I just need to leave it for a few minutes. One or two patches here and there. There is going to be quite a bit of blowing involved, so it will eventually spread anyway. Because I'm doing it differently to a normal bloom blowout, because I'm first doing the green bits on the bottom, and then I'm doing the purple on the top, and you only need a very little, goes a long way. If I look at my lavender that's blooming outside my window, the flowers are so tiny, and the leaves are, there are a lot of leaves, and they're quite thin and spiky, longish leaves, so it's very difficult to blow that out, but that's okay. I can shape those afterwards just by simply painting around this. I'm putting some pale green on top of the dark green, just so that the base can be dark green, and then the light on top. And like I said, this will go quite far up, so I'm just using two greens, and then I've got I'm using the hypermetallic purple, and then it's called ultramarine violet, and then this one's called brilliant purple. So 3 different purples, and in between those two I'm going to put the pearlescent white, and I'm not going to use gold, but I do have a lovely light metallic gold that I've used before, and I didn't want to use it in the painting because it's so pale it will probably disappear, so I'll paint it on afterwards. So I'm starting at the top of the green. I'm just going to blow it up how far it will take me. I really want them to go sideways, but it doesn't matter. Obviously I can paint those on afterwards. I just want there to be the presence of a stalk. Give me something to put the green onto. And see, I could use a bit more paint. I'd rather be safe than sorry. Well, I added quite a bit more paint because I decided I want the blossoms to be sort of curving down like that and then up to that corner. So I want the stems a little bit longer. So let's see what happens. I think that'll be okay. So that's the hypermetallic, and you see I took it all the way to the top there. This one can be a little higher, and then these will be the shortest, and then going up again. And there'll be blooms in between. I think it's not going to just be, one of each. It's going to blow out. As you can see, when I turned on the volume, it blew out more. Still not exactly how it's going to stay. Definitely going to need to paint around there, unless I add more green. I'll first see what the purple does. So that was the hypermetallic, and now the ultra, whatever it was, violet of the Amsterdam. And I'm just pouring straight from these little jars. They do pour nicely. You just have to be careful that the first blob doesn't come out too big. Or just move fast before it does. And now for the pearlescent white. There is a pearlescent purple. I do have some, but I don't think I have enough. So anyway, I like the effect of the pearlescent white more. And I must say, this hypermetallic purple, I've used it in a number of paintings now. It doesn't really have as much of a sheen as the hypermetallic gold. Not even vaguely similar. But the pale gold, hypermetallic gold, that really is beautiful. That has a beautiful sheen. But that's okay. I don't want it to be like the shiniest painting ever. I just want a bit of, glow from the sunshine. There that cares for sheen. So now this is the well, it's actually a darker purple than the one I put underneath. So maybe I need to put some more of the light one on top. I don't want it all dark. I should have done them in a different order. Too late now. Well, I'll blow out one and see how that looks. See if I do need to add another layer of the lighter purple on top. I want the outline, the background to be dark. Well, I think I'll just do the lighter purple. Quite different shades. This seems to be more of a bit of a blue shade. So there's a lot of paint here, so it will fill up. It wasn't flowing too well, so I added a bit more white on either side of the blooms to help it flow. That's giving some cells, which I wasn't planning on, but I'm a little bit, as long as they don't take over. I'm going to get them dry. So now I have my little trusty straw. This one has come out perfectly. This one's almost perfect. I just want to blow out a bit at the sides here. Better. While I have the straw in my hand, I might as well do it. Oh, that was way too much. Oh, that's going to be dangerous. I have to have a little light on top of that. Start here. Now that's nice. So my dilemma is now, as usual, do I wait until it dries or do I start making lines and marks now while it's wet? I let it settle for a little bit just to see what colours come out and then I'll decide. But I do like the cells and lacing that are coming out because they're coming out just in small quantities, not overwhelming. So that's very pretty there with green and purple is mixed. And yeah, we'll just wait and see. But too much solid purple here. Sides drips, which there aren't very many, but it gives me the chance to just cover up the sides where I can't see if there is enough paint. And this side I was pretty sure, because it was green, I could see it. And I came back and added a bit where there was some missing, as there usually is on the corners. But the top, the white, I won't see that. So feeling it with the glove on will help me to just be sure that it is covered. I mean, yeah, I can see, now I can see with the camera. I'll have to pour some white on the edge there. Well, it's developing nicely. It's so pretty, I don't want to disturb it. But I've got this thin stick, which I've used many times, and I think I'm going to just use it, starting with the leaves before it's too dry. It has settled quite a bit. So I'm going to make the leaf shapes just where I see them sort of naturally forming here, even though it's not the exact shape of a lavender leaf, but that's not important here. This is very, very abstract realism. So, I mean, I can make more leaves than that. I can make less. I suppose I'll make more because there are natural lines forming there. And then I'll do the same for the blossoms. You see, the cells are still developing. I don't want to disturb them. I want the cells in the blossoms more than in the leaves. Although there aren't any really developing in the leaves. Didn't use metallic or such a variety. I just used 2 colours in the leaves. So that's probably why. All those things make a difference. And so this is how you can use your creativity to make something unusual. I would have preferred the green going that way, but it's not so. But not all leaves go or form in exactly the same way, so we'll just add them from there. And another one coming down there. Coming down there. I think the green will stay as it is. It's pretty much settled. It's not really moving. It's not dripping. The purple may drip still on that side. Let's see. So I don't know if you want to watch the whole process. I'm recording it just in case anyone doesn't want to. They can just fast forward. But I mean, there is no absolute formula for how to form your leaves. For example, if I wanted to make these more realistic leaves, realistic regarding lavenders, because lavender leaves are, like I said, quite thin and spiky, well, then I would shape them differently, or I will just have to paint on the tips. But since they're all kind of going together, it won't really matter. I can just add a bit more green in between here if I want to. I do like the way the greens mix. It's very pretty. The stalks behind them. But with my technique of making something more and transforming your pour, you can do whatever you want. You can make it more realistic by painting away the parts you don't want. adding in paint when it's dry. Shape it more into your liking or to your vision of what you see, of how you see the flowers. It's entirely personal and meant to be enjoyed. The hairdryer is not a, doesn't get the final say. Let's put it that way. It's a tool to create something beautiful. And you'll see when I paint if I paint lavender with a paintbrush, whether I use acrylic or oil, I will never get these really delicate mixtures of colour, these little cells and lacing, which I have messed up a bit with the marks, but there they are still. So that's what's unique, and that's all I'm trying to preserve and achieve here. So you can get lovely mixtures with acrylic, with a brush, as I showed in my one cherry blossom, the part 1 and part 2 of the cherry blossom landscape, where I put 3 different colors on the brush without blending them and just painted them on like that. And it looked really lovely. And I have done a different technique some time ago, a long time ago, which I'll show you the paintings, but I have no recollection of how I did it. I think I did a lot of blending in that painting, but I'll show you now. I carried on blowing off camera, and I eventually managed to cover most of the canvas with this lovely green mixture. I really love it. I love the dark and the light contrast, and some of it blended with the purple, and that's very pretty. Just here and there I couldn't get the paint to move as far as I wanted, but that's okay. I'm going to add some green now. So now the painting has dried, but with the same liquid paint on my brush, and it's quite solid. I'm going to just take the stalks through. So I'll start down here and take the stalk through, because each bud, each flower ends at the tip of a stalk. So while this is not exactly going to represent exactly how lavender is, because I mean there are 47 different varieties of lavender and they each look a little different, but I think what's common to them all is that they have these very tiny flowers at the top. So really the stalk should have gone sort of into the, well, this is the flower at the top of each branch of the stalks. They do grow in clumps. So it's not very precise, but it's close enough for me. Do some down here. And also I realized why my light purple wasn't showing. You can see it in places like there and there in the right light. But why my pearlescent and my metallics are not showing is because I used the light violet, which is actually the most opaque violet, the ultramarine violet. Although it was the lightest color, it was completely solid and opaque. So that wasn't going to allow the colors underneath to show through. So I may add a bit of variety, I'll see. For example, here we could add a bit of a continuation of the leaf here. And here there can just be some green in the background. as well. I mean, this is your chance to just, as an artist, create what you want to see, and hope somebody else will like it. But I don't live for that. I live for just creating beauty, and if someone does like it, well, then I'm happy. Anyway, so now I am covering with the canvas flat because the white seems a bit thinner than the green, and I noticed the green was running down in places, so it's not going to be a complete cover. I'll cover it with blue once the white is dried, and so there'll be something in the background. It won't be completely smooth blue or white. Just want to create the shape of the tip of the lavender here. And this one can go up like that. And here there was a whole bunch of extra leaves in between the two, which is fine. You have leaves growing in the background, but every leaf has a flower on the top. Not exactly right there. I think I have to wipe away some of that with a wet wipe while I still can. Make this one a bit more like that. I always forget to point my camera into the right place. So that will be fine as long as I just extend that a little bit. I've covered the top with white. I went back and with the green, just a little green on my brush, a wet brush, I sort of dragged the outlines of the leaves into the leaves a bit, especially where there were the pale green leaves, just because I didn't really like that stark outline. And I wish I'd done it sooner because some of it's already dried. So anyway, that's what happens when you are rushing. Got to think about every step you take. So now I'm painting on the blue, which to my eyes today is looking a little on the green side. I don't know. It was a mixture of blues. But I'm also going to add a little pink in between, just for some variety. And I'll add it in between here. Not much space to really add it, other than in the sky. Now for a little bit of pink in the sky. And I might add some touches of pink onto the flowers as well. They do need a bit more contrast than they currently have. Even though violet is lovely, beautiful colour. Little touches of pink here and there. Into it. I'm just tapping them on, and then I'll drag them in to the flower itself when I finish painting this bit of sky in here. Tips of these lavenders, because they're quite fuzzy now. Of course, they can be fuzzy in the distance. I'll just add some more blue here. I'll leave it and see what it looks like later. I'm not going to rush it. I mean, I think that looks pretty, but you know, it needs to dry and then I'll know for sure. I think the pink added a nice touch there, and I blurred it a bit with the brush and then I wiped away a little bit with a wet wipe. And now I'm going to, with some hypermetallic purple, I'm just going to form this top buds. And I'll see how that changes things before I decide where and when to add the gold. The metallic is just not picking up. It is a lovely colour, and I think it shines a bit more when you use it straight from the container rather than diluting it and pouring it. You can have one there. So while I'm preserving as much of the blood as possible, there are some obvious changes. So, because of what I'm doing, what I'm adding, what I'm transforming. That needs to go this way. That's how it's looking now that I've added touches of the hypermetallic purple around the edges of the blossom so that they actually have a defined shape, rather than just the shape that I sketched with the stick. And I think it looks pretty now. It combines with the pink. It really livens them up together with that pink and blue sky. So now all that remains is the touches of gold, which I will have to do later. Well, this is how it's dried, and I'm very happy with it. I really like it. But I want to just add some pearlescent white, I think, to the edges of these blossoms at the top, just here and there, just so that the edges of the blossoms are not so defined, because actually they're in layers of little blossoms. You can't even see, you know, if you're close up. It's not one solid flower or one solid bud. So we'll just break it up a little bit. Now that it's all off my brush, I will just brush it in. And the sky is very pretty, but I need to change it a bit. I can't have this blue and then pink on either side. This needs to be a bit of pink there and a bit of pink there. So that's what I'll do now. And yeah, I don't know if I'm going to do this on all the flowers, but just on these at the top, which immediately catch your eye. And maybe not all the way to the sides. I like that sky a bit better. I just increase the pink, remove that blue, remove the pink here and increase the pink up there. So now I think it looks a bit more balanced. And when it's dry, I'm going to add a very, very thin glaze of pearlescent over it. I think that'll just give it that nice, soft, hazy effect. And now with the green, I've decided that not only do I need to add green in some places where there wasn't any, but I'm going to make those leaves in between, I'm going to just make them a little wider so that they have more of a presence. So thin on the tip and then just wider down. So that will unfortunately cover some of the beautiful blossoms, but I want this painting to be beautiful, so I just have to do what I have to do. And that's what I see will make a difference. And really on a stalk of lavender, you have multiple leaves going out and then, thin stalks going out from each with the lavender on the end of each stalk, which I'm not going to do in this paint. It's not going to work. But there's still some things I can do to just improve the appearance. And some of the blossoms are in the front of these leaves and some are behind. So anyway, I'll do the rest off camera and bring you back when there's more to see. I've added more to the green leaves everywhere, and with the pale green now I'm going to just highlight them here and there because they don't have to be quite this dark. Just parts of them will get a touch of the light green. And then I'll go back to the sky. And then finally I may get to the gold. Just want to get what's on my brush off and then go back and drag it in a bit. So the green is very pretty. It's a little bit harsh. You always need highlights on these. And where I went over some of the purple with the green because I had to add more leaves. The green is transparent, so it's actually showing the cells through underneath, which is nice. So I'm not losing all of that. Some got a bit blurrier and a bit more spread out than they were supposed to. On a painting like this, it all blends in together. So that's just on the top that I'm going to be doing it. That takes care of the green highlights. And now with a bit of thinned out pearlescent, I'm just going over this part of the sky. So I think it actually already has quite a sheen there from all the colours that are in it. Plus it's going to get the varnish. So that will be fine. But I do like the effect of painting over the blossoms that had protruded too far. It's given a nice, nice background. And now with this pale champagne gold, champagne gold, yellow gold, I think it's champagne gold. I really don't know. I'm just going to add touches of it here and there on the top blossoms. And I've already added pearlescent over there, but you can't really see much of it. for such a thin layer, and this is also just as much of a thin layer, but just to add a little glow. Now I can see that. That's a bit better. Just wet my brush again and thin it out a bit more. I don't want big blobs of it. It's easier to see it in the camera than it is in reality. So this would definitely have vanished, I think, if I'd put it in the pour. Maybe if I put it on the top, the last colour. I don't know. But it's very expensive, and it takes a lot to make enough for a pour. So it's just to me, it doesn't seem worth it. Knowing that I used up my entire jar of hypermetallic purple to make a mixture which has covered a few paintings already, but it's not going to last much longer. And there was no more in the store when I went again. So, you know, might be one off for a while. And it really did look very pretty when I used it to paint the background of one of my champagne coloured rose. So I do want to have some, you know, available if I do need to use it. I was talking about the purple, and also in the rose itself I used this champagne gold, and it was very pretty. But again, because I painted it on with a brush, and I painted it over, I don't remember what different colours, so it was more visible. So I wanted it to look like just little sunbeams glinting in the background. I think that's enough. Maybe some up at the top there. Oh, there is some there. I don't see it. Unless it's in the right light. And as we are now late in the afternoon, there's not much light. So, I think that is it for this painting. I think it's turned out very nicely. Very pretty. And I hope you all enjoyed watching it. I hope you like the colour scheme. And look forward to seeing you in my next painting. And I look forward to hearing your comments and gaining new subscribers. If you're enjoying my channel, please do subscribe and like, and let me know what you think.